Hello everybody and welcome back to the labs. I am Tousty and welcome to this very special edition mod spotlight of Chaotic Craft. Chaotic Craft is a really cool mod that's added to the Karma Modpack, and it's created by a man named Lidar1437. Now, Lidar is one of the co-creators of the Karma Modpack, which you can pick up on the ATLauncher, and is a really fun sort of blend. Hello, chicken. You want to come into the camera? Yeah? You like being on the camera? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. The Karma Mod Pack is a really cool sort of blend of tech and adventure. So it's a really neat playthrough. For me, I'm really enjoying it. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, and I know that I had said that the Karma Mod Pack was initially just a stopgap for me while I waited for Mod Sauce, which I'm pretty sure comes out this Friday. But I think I'm going to keep going on it simultaneously and just kind of play them both for a while to see what the differences are. But anyways, enough of that. We're going to look at Chaotic Craft. So this mod was created specifically for the Karma Mod Pack, like I said. And as such, there isn't a whole lot of documentation. There's not a whole lot of videos. There isn't even an actual website for this. So I'm going to cover it as best as I can. And as we started with our extra utilities spotlight series, we are going to begin by looking at the config files. So if you don't like this, skip ahead a little bit, and you can check out the actual items and stuff that are in the game. So let's go ahead and look at the config files. So to start, we have a config file that's actually called AE2, which you may find a little strange, but this is part of the Chaotic Craft configuration system. If you go into your config folder, you will find an entire folder called Chaotic Craft, and this is the first file in it. This whole config file is dedicated to changing some things in the way that AE2 works in your mod pack. So right now we have some big changes that I love and was really happy when I found out what mod did it. But kind of sad because I thought maybe it was a change to AE2. But what it does is this actually changes and allows the presses from Applied 962, if you're familiar with it at all, to spawn in dungeon chests as opposed to just finding them in skystone chests and meteors. And it actually is really common. So you find about one press per chest. I've only found a couple that didn't have them. I found a lot of dungeons in my playthrough. So this is really neat. So it adds all of the different kind of presses except for the name press, which is okay because it's not the hugest deal in the world yet. It does do something, but it's not a really big deal. So the other thing it does is, excuse me. So this is actually you have the 4 different presses. And this turns on or off by setting this value to false, each one, as to whether or not you want it to spawn into dungeon chests. So right now we can see the calculation press is set to true, so it will spawn in dungeon chests. But I turn this to false and it'll stop. And then above that we have the weight of each one. So this is kind of like the percentage chance in a way. I don't know if it's actually in percentages, but this is the chance that these items will spawn in a chest. So the higher this number, the bigger the chance that you're going to find AE2 items in dungeon chests. And that is all of that for the AE2 file. As we continue, we can look at the armor file. Whoop. That was weird. Sorry about that. Now, Chaotic Craft adds its own system of armor, and there's several tiers of that armor, and we'll go over that. But basically, you can activate or deactivate an entire set of armor by the tier. So you could say turn off the tier 5 boots, turn off the tier 5 chestplate, and for each one just change this value to false and it would turn off the tier 4 chaotic helmet. And so that's kind of just a nice way of organizing all of the armor options. And as we continue, we'll look at the blocks. The different blocks that this adds is actually quite limited. It's the chaotic pressure plate and the chaotic sponge. And these two are kind of interesting because you'll see from the recipes, they don't even necessarily feel like they belong in the mod. But you'll see, or at least this one really doesn't. But you'll see why in a minute. But you can turn both of those off. And now we see the gems. This mod adds 2 different gems, the chaotic gem blue and the chaotic gem purple, which have very cool values. You can turn them on and off, and I'll explain what they do. Whoopsies. And the smelting configuration file. This essentially allows you to smelt down old armor, whether it's chainmail or diamond or gold or whatever have you, even leather. You can smelt it down and it'll give you back a certain amount of ingots. So if I smelt chainmail boots, I'll get 2 ingots back from that, and I believe that would be iron, I think. I've never actually made chainmail, so I don't really know. Whatever it's made out of, it'll give you that many ingots back. So you can configure what you want, essentially the refund value of armor and items to be. So you want a diamond axe to smelt it down. You could say, give me 3 diamonds, but that would be a little cheaty because even I believe if it's damaged, I haven't tested it for sure, but I'm pretty sure even damaged tools would work. So that'd be a way of kind of getting your full item back and, you know, not really necessarily what's intended. But yeah, you can totally recycle your tools now. That's pretty cool. Just stick them into a furnace and away they go. It adds a couple of tools. It adds 1 of each of the regular tools plus, like, you know, shovel, pickaxe, all that stuff. It also adds shears, which are just a really high durability shear, I believe. I don't think there's anything special that they do. And a chaotic tool, which we'll get into in a little bit as well. And you can turn all of them on or off. Weapons is the sword and the bow. It adds its own sword and its own bow, which are really, really good. But again, just you want to turn one of them off for your server or at least your playthrough for some reason, you have the option to do that. And finally, we get to World Gen. This mod adds a new ore, and it gives you lots of options. You can choose how many pieces or how many veins of ore, number of attempts to generate ore per chunk. So like, it'll try and generate ore, and if it finds something in the way, then it won't do it. So this should, as far as I understand, and I may be wrong about this, and LiDAR, you can feel free to correct me on this, but as far as I figured out, this is essentially it'll try and spawn an ore, but it won't overlap another one. And if it doesn't, you know, you may find a chunk that doesn't have any because it'll only do that 5 times. So if it finds a spot to generate ore and it's already got other ore there, it won't do it. But then this stuff sets the size of the default vein. So if it does get through these 5 chunk passes, or these 5 attempts, and does spawn its own vein, you'll get up to 10 blocks per vein. And you will also, I believe this is just for the chaotic ore. This sets the levels at which the ores will generate. This may change more than the chaotic ore. I don't really know. This mod pack has some interesting world gen in it, and it may all be done by this, but I really don't know. But yeah, so this will change the minimum Y and the maximum Y, minimum and maximum Y level of generated ore, probably just the chaotic ore. And then this is a great little option. This turns on or off the bedrock fogs. You know, when you get really low and close to bedrock, it starts to get a little hazy. A lot of people don't like that, so this mod will also turn that off for you, and it'll make bedrock flat if you don't have another mod doing that. And that is all of the config files. Nice and easily organized, really, really good, and a lot of things for you to play with. So let's get out of creative mode here because I don't need it, and let's begin. So to begin, we obviously have all of our basic tools, okay, like sword, pickaxe, shovel, axe. This is from the wrong mod. Shears, the tool, the bow, and the chaotic hoe. And they're all very, very good. They're like diamond tools, but better. So this will do 8 damage. A diamond tool, a diamond sword, I believe only does 7. Yeah, 7. And so it's only got 1500 durability. This has 2000. So it's kind of like an upgraded version of diamond, but it's much, much more easily accessible than diamond. I mean, this ore could be everywhere. It is in my playthrough anyways. And it's pretty easy. It's just a stick and a couple of chaotic ingots. And so it's really, really simple to make. Shears, great shears, really durable. I think that's all that's special about them. The bow, oopsies, I need arrows. I have not used much, but is a bow with a good durability. And, you know, it just sort of fires through those, and it's kind of the regular bow, but does a bit more damage. It has a really high durability. Then we come to the chaotic tool. This is a neat little guy. This will allow you to actually pick up chests that have items in them. Boop. And now I have myself a chest. That tells me a bit about them. I can carry that around and just plop her back down. Boop. Oh, look at that. Bug. I may need to report that. This mod is definitely in its infancy. Unless I did something wrong, yeah, that should not have happened. But it'll also pick up spawners. I just, you know, who knows what'll happen. But yeah, so that is a really, oh, that was weird. Maybe it'll have something to do with that. Let me just check that again. But yeah, it'll pick up vanilla chests only and spawners. No other tile entities will be picked up by this, just those things. Let's just do this real quick. Chest, and see what happens now that I'm not in adventure mode. All right, pick it up. No, come back. Chest with a bunch of stuff in it. And yeah, empty. So definitely a bug. Very, very, like, early in the mod, I think. This is definitely, it's like on version 1.0.1. It's maybe 1.0.2. But it's, you know, there's just nothing on it. So it's a great mod, but there are a few issues. So that is the chaotic tool. Let's get some of our stuff back, shall we? When I'm ready. Then we have the chaotic hoe. Chaotic hoe is good. You know, just regular hoe, but it actually hydrates the ground while it hoes. Hose? Yeah. Which is awesome. And if you shift click, it'll do a 3x3. So bad example. Boom. Stupid grass. 3x3. See? Awesome. And that'll keep it hydrated for a little bit. So that's a really neat tool. All it takes is a couple of chaotic ingots and some sticks. I would expect to see some of these recipes changing because they are fairly overpowered for some things. But these tools are great. They're just sticks, a couple of ingots, and way better than diamond. And they're just kind of, you know, bog standard. There's nothing special. They're just awesome. But they are enchantable. If I were to put down an enchanting table, boop, boop, da, ba, doo. I can stick this in there and I can pull it and enchant, no problem. Yeah, I can't enchant the shears though. So that's good. You can also use the Ender IO enchanter, as you will see eventually in my series. I turn my shovel into a silk touch shovel. And so that's something that you can definitely do. Then we're going to move to our armor. Now the armor has many different forms. So basically, you just make it like any other armor. You make the upside down sort of like table looking thing, I guess, upside right table. You make the pants the same way. You know, all the recipes are the same as vanilla armor, except you use the chaotic ingots, which you make by finding the chaotic ore, which is our world gem, and you'll find in the ground. You pick that puppy up, stick it in a furnace or a crushing device of some sort. Boom, 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 and it'll cook down into chaotic ingot. This is your world gem. This is what it looks like in the world, so it's really, really easy to find. It also gives off a great deal of light. Oops. And it does work in other machines. So if I take a look at the ingots here, we can see that in this mod pack, we can put it in an alloy smelter. We can also put it in a redstone furnace. But we can also turn it into, make it from dust, which we can use in a grindstone, a sag mill. And that way you've got lots of extra stuff. So then you can turn it into this armor, as I was saying before. Now the armor is awesome because it has set bonuses. In your first tier, you'll get protection 1 on your entire set of armor. And now that's good, but you know, it's not like, woo, amazing, I'm gonna wear this forever. For that, he has added several tiers. And but the recipes begin to get significantly more expensive. To create a tier 2, you need a full tier 1. You need a 2 chaotic blocks, which is just 9 ingots. You also need a chaotic diamond, which has no recipe, but is craftable. I'll show you how. And you need a redstone block. And you need that for all of them. Original, 2 chaotic or 2 chaotic ingot blocks or chaotic blocks, a chaotic diamond, and a redstone block. And you need that for all of them. But what you see is with the second tier, you get another set bonus, blast protection 2 and protection 2. As opposed to just protection 1. And that's just when you have 2 items that you're wearing, I believe. As we move forward, we'll see that we need the next one, which is the chaotic helmet tier 3, which requires the tier 2 with 4 chaotic blocks, a chaotic diamond, and 3 glowstone ingots, blocks, and that is the same all the way across the board. Except you also get protection 3, blast protection 3, and projectile protection 3. So we are just, you know, this stuff is beefy. And then as we continue, we just go through the same pattern. Now we need loads of chaotic blocks, still chaotic diamonds, and a block of diamonds. They get very expensive, but you get protection 3, blast protection 3, projectile protection 3, and fire protection 3, all the way through to the point where we're using blocks of emerald, and we have protection 4, blast protection 4, projectile protection 4, and fire protection 4. And you should be pretty darn invincible. And the durability increases with each one of these, so to the point where we're up to, you know, let's see, what is diamond armor's durability? Diamond armor has 363 unenchanted from crafting, but once you craft it, this armor set gives you, you know, like for a diamond chest plate, there's 528. This has 3,680, and that, you know, also has to do with the set and the enchantments, but pretty awesome. So that is the chaotic armor. There are some bonuses to having a full set of tier 5, and that is these gems. These gems help you do two things. One is the flying gem gives you creative flight, and you don't need to have it in your slot. You can just fly around. Although I did have a little bug earlier where it was kind of hard to take off. No, it's fine now. And oh yeah, and the gem of water breathing, which we find us a little lake to dive into. See if we can. Oh, there's probably a good one there. Like there we go. Nice. All right, so I am underwater, but I am able to breathe underwater because of my gem of water breathing. But both of those ingots require that you're wearing a full set of tier 5 armor, and that is not the simplest of tasks to get through. I can tell you that. Alrighty, where did my little area go? So those are the two gems. They're quite easy to make. They're just a little expensive. The flying gem, sorry, considering what they are, but the flying gem is 2 blocks of lapis, 2 blocks of redstone, a block of diamond, and 4 chaotic ingots. Just don't do what I did and build it near the beginning of the game and think you were going to be able to fly, because you need a full set of tier 5 armor, and I did not know that at first. This brings us to the recipe components of a chaotic chestplate, or of the tier 2 and up armor, which is the chaotic diamond. The chaotic diamond does not have a recipe in game, but is very much craftable. However, I don't know how many crafting recipes exist. I just know one recipe. In order to do this, I was looking through the items. So there's a bit of backstory to this. Like I said, I was looking through the items, but basically what happened was I built this set of tier 1 armor, and I used it for a lot of my Chaotic Craft series. But I'd always planned on adding Redstone Arsenal to the mod pack, which I eventually did, and now have a full set of that armor. But that was not easy to get. And the reason being is the Chaotic Craft armor recipes were kind of bugged, and I didn't see myself going further until I could figure this out. So I did try for a while, but to no avail. Eventually I was asked in a comment, and I did finally figure it out. By looking through here, I was able to see that there is liquid. You know, this mod adds liquid in some way. And why does it add liquid if it doesn't use it? So I tried two things. I tried to stick the chaotic ore into a magma crucible, and I tried to stick it into a smeltery, which does work. The magma crucible from Thermal Expansion 4 does not produce liquid. Other mods might. I don't really know what he's... Wow. Thank you. I'm glad I have tier 5 armor, which fully protected me from that creeper blast. But yeah, so what... Hold on. I'm not really sure why that didn't make any noise for me. That was kind of bizarre. Anyways, what I was saying was, yeah, you don't get the liquid from the magma crucible, but you do from this. And you could just pour it out regularly, but what you have to do to get your chaotic diamond is take a regular diamond, put it in your casting table, and cast some molten chaotic fluid around it. And boom, just like that, you have a chaotic diamond. So for each piece of chaotic ore or chaotic armor, you need a chaotic diamond. Which means, in order to get to tier 4, just to get to tier 4, you're going to need 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 44, and 48. 48 diamonds. Just to get to tier 5, sorry. And then tier 5 comes, you actually need 52 diamonds and 36 emeralds. So it's not the cheapest, let alone how much chaotic ore you're going to need. I mean, you're just going to need a ton of that stuff, which isn't that hard to find, but oh boy, you're going to need a lot. And that's how you get the chaotic diamond, and you're going to need a lot of them. So be prepared for that. But this is used in these recipes, and it has no recipe in game at the moment. So that is about everything except for these last 2 blocks. Now, the chaotic sponge I have not played with too much. But basically, I'm just going to assume I'm not going to die. There we go. My ring saved me. Your ring also seems to give you full feather falling. The way sponges work in Minecraft are pretty simple. Just put it in the water and it sucks it all up. Now, this seems to be having a little issue. I don't know if it's supposed to do this, but this can happen with sponges where essentially what happens is the source blocks of water form faster than this can take them. And so it just kind of actively, you know, very laggily, but active, is that a word? Laggily? Laggily? Yeah, it actively tries to pick up the water. Unfortunately, the source blocks replicate the water and it goes in this vicious cycle. And hello, let's see what this armor can take. Well, I'm poisoned, but other than that, poisoned and stuck in a web, I was fine. And it does, whoa, webs everywhere. Good job, exploding creepers. Yeah, so I think it's a little bugged, so I wouldn't use that if you could avoid it. There are other options in the mod pack for sponges. And then we have, of course, the creative pressure plate. Let's do this. 1, 2. It is a little buggy sometimes getting to fly, but again, still very early in the mod. Aside from that, it's great. Let's get us a door. I do think that these chaotic blocks are great building blocks if they weren't really expensive. All right. Acts like a regular pressure plate. I am curious to try this. I haven't done this yet. Let's throw some sort of entity down to see if we can get it to, come on, something useful here. Let's get us a cow. Yeah, so entities don't seem to open it, which is really good. But yeah, so that is Chaotic Craft, everybody. That's about everything. It's a really cool mod. If you're playing on the Karma pack, I highly recommend it. There's so much you can do with it, and it's very simple. These are all the items it adds, but you can get away with a whole bunch. Don't forget that Chaotic tool there does, in fact, pick up vanilla spawners as well. And so that is a great help because it is also not very expensive. It's just 5 ingots. Boom. Right, so you get your bow, your chaotic armor, and all the pieces. Everything, it crafts it exactly the way you should. The only difficulty is figuring out the chaotic diamond. And now that you know how to do that, you should be able to make whatever you want in this mod pack. Until next time, guys, I have been Toasty. You have been watching this spotlight on the ATLauncher in the Karma mod pack in Infinity Labs. Take it easy, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, let me know down below. I know I've gotten a question about this already and how to make it. So just if you got any more questions about this mod or others, leave them below and I'll see what I can do. All right, deuces.